Right, here's chapter 6.5 homework help. For the first two, it's asking us to identify the percent of change. This was less than 6.4. And then find the percent of change. So remember for this, I'm going to take my biggest number, 20, subtract it by my smallest number, 16, and I'm going to divide it by the original number, which would have been 16, and then multiply by 100 to get my percentage. I have 4 over 16 times 100. This is going to leave me then with 25%. 16 to 20, that went up, so we have an increase. For number 3, I have 15 ounces to 5 ounces. 15 is going to be my original. It's also my biggest number I see, so I'm going to put it first and then divide by it. I'll then multiply by 100 to get my percent. 15 minus 5 is 10. 10 divided by 15 times 100 is going to give us 66.7%. I rounded there. If you also gave this, that would be acceptable. And since I went from 15 down to 5, this is a decrease. 5, 6, and 7 is asking to find the product and just write the fractions in simplest form. Okay, for the first one here, I can simplify a little bit beforehand. This can become a 2, this can become a 3. Both of those are divisible by 2. 2 times a negative 1 is going to be negative 2. 7 times 3 is 21. That is as simplified as I can get it. Negative 2 over 21. For the next one, I have 6.02 times 1.58, and that is negative. I'll account for that at the end. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 0 plus 1 is 1. And then 48. I have 4 decimal points, so it'll go there. Add my 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Add the 1. 1 goes there, and then I have 30. 2 zeros, and then 1 times 2 is 2. 0 times 1 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. Adding everything up, I should get 6. 1. 8 plus 1 is 9 plus 2 is 11. 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. 3 plus 6 is 9. Alright, so I get 9.5116. I have a negative times a positive. That is going to be a negative answer. Finally here, I have 3 times 2 and an eighth. Right, we can rewrite this as negative 3 over 1 times negative, and if I around the world really quick, 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 is 17 over 8. No simplifying I can do here, so 3 times 17 gets us 51. 1 times 8 is 8. If we wanted to, we could rewrite this as a mixed number. 8 can go into 51 6 times, and it leaves 3 extras left over. Negative times a negative, this is going to stay positive for an answer. Okay. Comparing discounts. The same item is on sale at 2 stores. Which is the better price? We have to use our percent models to help us. Okay. So it's asking, what's better, 60% off 60 or 55% off 50? It's going to be really close, but we should be able to see a difference here. All right, again, a couple methods. I'm actually going to do both methods for this problem right on here. Okay, so for this one, I know that my amount of discount, I'm going to call it A, is equal to 0.60, change my percent to a decimal, times 60, my original price, meaning my amount of discount is going to end up being, if I type this in quick, 0.6 times 60 is $36. Since that's my amount of discount, I'm going to take it away from my original price, leaving me with $24. Okay, that is method 1, find the amount and then subtract it off. The second method says, hey, 100% would be paying full price. If it's 55% off, I can take off 55% of that cost, leaving me to pay 45%. after I do that, my sale price is just equal to my new amount I'm paying, 45%, times the original price now of 50.45 times 50 gets us $22.50. So looking at this, out of those two options, which one is the better price? Clearly that is better because it is cheaper. So I'd say store number 2. Alright, moving on to 10, 12, 18, 22. It's giving us kind of a table to look at. It gives us the original price, the percent discount, and then the sale price. So remember my original price, that would be like if I'm paying 100%. My discount is what I'm taking off. Sale price would be kind of what I'm trying to solve for. So here I'm going to use method 2 where I actually subtract from it. Right, method 2 says, hey, my selling price or my sale price is equal to my original price, 80 bucks, times the amount I'm going to pay, right? 100% would be paying full price. My percent discount says take off this much. So if I take off 20%, that means I'm going to pay 80% of the full price. I'm going to change that to a decimal really quick. This means that 80 times 0.8, I get an answer of $64. Okay, the next one is pretty much the exact same thing, just different numbers. Sale price is $120 times, this time my discount is 80%, meaning I'm left paying 20%. So I'll change that to a decimal. 120 times 0.2 ends up giving me $24. Just like that. Alright, here's where it kind of switches up a little bit, right? Now I know my sale price, but I don't know what I started with. Okay? So instead of knowing this, instead of not knowing S, I now don't know W. So I'm going to fill in what I know. My sale price is 72. I don't know what my W is, but I do know my percent of discount is 64%, meaning I have to think how much would I be left to pay, right? When I subtract these, I am needing to pay still 36% of the cost. So I'm going to multiply this by 0.36. To solve for W then, that's easy. We just divide by 0.36, divide by 0.36. My original price when I divide here is going to be $200. Right? To check that, we could do it the opposite way and see does it match up with 72, which it does. Last time, now I don't know my percent of discount, right? So this time I know what S is, it's $61.75. I know what my original price was, $95, but I don't know how much percent I actually paid, right? We have to figure that out a little bit. The way we do that is we're going to divide here, 61.75 divided by 95 gives us a percent of 65%. Now, remember, this is the percent that I'm paying. This is not my discount, right? So we have to think, what I know right now is what I ended up paying. What did I take off is what I'm trying to figure out. Well, 65 plus what gets me to 100, that would be 35%. Right? We could also check this to make sure, right? If I had a 50% discount, that means it's half off, meaning I should end up with a number somewhere around 50 because that's about half of 95. I'm over 50, meaning I should not see a percentage over half off because, right, that doesn't match up. So 35% is a reasonable answer because it is not quite half off, but it's still significantly discounted. Okay. 23, 24, 25. It just says find the selling price, so this time we're finding markup. Right, for markup, again, it's the exact same thing. My original price times, and instead of subtracting this time, we're actually going to add on our percentage, just like that. Right, so paying 100% will be paying original price, or the cost of the store. If they mark it up 10%, it means they increase the price 10%, meaning the person pays 110% of what it's worth. That as a decimal is 1.1. My selling price here then would end up being $55. Next up, we've got the cost of the store is 80 and the markup is 60%. For this one, my cost S is going to be that $80. We're going to multiply it by our new percentage. Right, 100% would be my cost of the store. I'm going to add the 60% markup they're making on it to get 160%. That as a decimal is 1.6. When we do that, 80 times 1.6 is $128. Lastly, the cost of the store is 140, markup 25%. S equals 140 times 100 plus 25 is 125%. That as a decimal is 1.25. S is equal to 140 times 1.25, or $175. Last problem here, number 29, says you're shopping for a video game system. It's first asking which store it makes the most sense to buy it at, and then store A is going to have a weekend sale. What discount must store A offer you to buy the system there? Alright, so when we go in through this, I'm going to make a new column that says sale price. And we're going to find it for each of these stores. Okay. The first one, right, I'm going to use this equation where we go 100% would be my full cost. And I'm going to take, and this is a markup, so I'm going to add each markup. Right, so store A's markup would be 140%. Store B's markup is going to be 30%. And store C's markup is going to be 25%. And there are new percentages. For store A, right, we're going to multiply that by the cost. Cost for store B, cost for store C. Store A's selling price, when I go 1.4 times 162, is $226.80. Store B would be 155 times 1.3, and we get 201.50. And then finally, we're going to do 160 times 1.25 to get $200. Okay, so looking at all of those, right, it's going to tell us that probably we should go to store C if we want to pay the least for it. So the answer to question A would be store C. Question B then says store A has a weekend sale. What discount must the store A offer for you to buy the system there? Right, so in a sense, really, we're looking at this as we want to be below store C because it would make sense to go to the cheapest store, right? So if I'm looking at this, I want to be either at 200 or lower, and I actually want to be lower than it. So if we figured out what the sale would have to be at $200, we could then say, hey, anything, more percent off, I'm going to go to store A. Here's how we do that, right? So the cost at store A is $226.80. The cost at store C is $200. When we're doing this, right, we're thinking about my percent off and what does that need to be. We're going to treat this as the original price. I like writing W, or the original. And then this is like our sale price. This is where we're trying to get to. Using our formula, right, I use this S equals P percent times W. 200 is the goal. I'm trying to find my percent. And W is like our original price or our store A price. Okay? To get the percent by itself, we're going to divide and divide. And this is what we get. We get 200 divided by 2268.8. And for my percentage, after multiplying by 100, I get 88 point, let's say 18%. That's where I'm going to round it. Now from here, we have to think about this isn't the price that like 88.8% or 18% off. No, this is how much I'm paying. Okay, and I need to figure out, right, how much is there left over to pay. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, right, 100 minus 88.18 is going to give me how much percent off I had. So 100 minus 88.18 leaves me with 11.82. So realistically, right, if we wanted to kind of round up here and say, hey, if they had this sale, I would go to store A. We would say if they had a 12% off or more, then that price would be lower than store C's price of 200. Okay? That is how we solve this. All right, there's 6.5 homework help for you.